I attended what I expected to be a super fun party at a close friend's home. I expected to be awake until dawn, so I made sure to eat a big dinner and arrive late to the party around 11 PM with 2 of my best friends. Now, we're a pretty tight-knit social group, and despite the party being a combination house show with several bands playing, I virtually knew all of the 60 or so people who were already there when I arrived. Among friends and acquaintances, everyone was celebrating, drinking, and having a great time all round. I had planned to meet up with some other friends around 2 AM when they were done bartending a public event. So, I was drinking socially, but in moderation. I'm no stranger to the sauce, and have a healthy tolerance. By midnight, the party had grown to at least 100 people by this time. There were people drifting in from neighbouring parties and the surrounding university area, despite attempts to limit attendees to people we all actually knew. I opened my 3rd beer at 1 AM and continued taking photos, snaps and messaging other friends who were not there. Around 1:30 AM, I started to feel really drunk, and thinking that perhaps I was just overwhelmed by the constant activity around me, I went into the mostly empty living room for a breather and to message my friend. I sent her a message inviting her to the party, as we'd already planned on meeting up. As I finished my message, I felt someone come up behind me. He pressed his body against me as he grabbed my hip. As I straightened up, I could feel him bending down slightly to whisper in my ear, but it wasn't a whisper. He clearly said to me, "In a few minutes, you aren't about to remember anything, and then I'm going to rape the shit out of you." I froze, and then it hit me. I wasn't feeling drunk at all. The confusion I'd attributed to social anxiety or the large crowd I was experiencing because I'd been drugged. I knew I only had moments to prevent the inevitable. I ran from him the best I could and didn't turn around. I went to retrieve my purse and jacket and started calling the 2 people I meant to meet up with at 2 AM. I was so out of it that I was having a hard time communicating on what was actually happening. I started crying, moving throughout the house, trying to find someone I could explain it to, but I was too disorientated. Thankfully, friend number 1 was able to leave from bartending early and came to get me. He called me as I ran outside. The creepy guy literally chased me. I got to my friend's car, and as I started to black out, he said the creepy guy was trying to wave him down, shouting to him that he was my friend and he was going to take me home. Friend number 1 told me that I kept saying drive, just drive, and he took me home where I met up with friend number 2 who was bartending the event. At 2 AM, I lost consciousness and remained unconscious for 5.5 hours. They were shaking me, trying to get some kind of reaction, but nothing. I didn't respond in any way. They sat up with me throughout the night to make sure I was okay. Around 7 AM, I somehow managed to get up and climb into bed. At 9 AM, I awoke with a start and had no idea where I was. I was so relieved to discover I was safely at home. I was high for a total of 20 hours and didn't feel normal again for several days. I don't think I'll ever know who drugged me, and I only have a vague description to work from. So yeah, that was probably the worst New Year's Eve I've ever had in my life. So my story isn't horrifying, but certainly left me paranoid about what people are genuinely capable of. On the day after New Year's Eve, my friend invited me out to smoke some weed. I just recently got out of a relationship and had nothing better to do than browse Reddit and think unproductive thoughts. Me and my friend, I'll call him Alan, meet his friend at a restaurant in our town. I've met the guy before, but only knew him through Alan. The guy graduated the year before Alan and I. We parked in the guy's driveway and smoked a joint. All is well and we eat afterward. The guy seemed cool. He listened to old school rap and watched Netflix shows. These feelings unravelled, however, when Alan dropped a bomb on me in the middle of our second post-meal joint. Alan and his friend had been playfully fucking with each other all night. Typical guy shit. They had been friends for much longer than I'd even lived in the town, so it was cool with me. But the higher everyone got, the less playful the teasing seemed. Alan's pal started saying things to purposely make Alan look bad. Now, Alan is a sensitive guy and wouldn't be insulted without saying something back. Unfortunately, the information he shared was quite unsettling. Alan stated the following. Did you know he killed a dog? Yeah, he killed a dog and threw it in the river. I expected immediate denial. Instead, the guy says, it was a piece of shit dog. At this point, I'm high as fuck and already an anxious person. After browsing various subs through Reddit in my spare time, I can tell that this is Sociopath 101. I decided to stay silent, as to not agitate the guy any further. Unfortunately, Alan felt he should press the matter. His friend then asked me, hey man, you understand, right? I don't know how I went from smoking a joint and looking at fireworks to having a discussion about dog murder. I responded with a slurred, I don't know, man. In response, he explains how he and his friends found a dog and proceeded to shoot it in its limbs and finally its head. I guess he thought a step-by-step procedure would clear up my confusion. What really baffled me about the guy was that he seemed completely average, just a stoner who liked rap and Netflix, a lot like myself. It just goes to show that anyone is capable of anything, and to that specific guy, let's hope we never meet again.